Okay, the recording started. It is December 26th, 2025, and we're here with the Wimberg sisters. Uncle Steve may have a different name for them. Uh, so they're going to share some of their childhood stories that they want to pass on to the generations that are coming through the Wimberg family. So where would you ladies want to start? The child at home? What do you think would be best? We'll start
Childhood home.
Child at home? Okay.
And Vintner.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Our childhood home.
Yeah, memories about the childhood home and maybe some of the stories of the
Okay.
The home is
So we always called our childhood home 6404.
Okay.
So,
Atlantic Avenue.
and I know Joni has some memories. You have a lot of memories, and I have in between because that was where we spent our early years. What's the earliest you remember?
Being there in that big White House with 8 bedrooms. And I was born in that house. So that's my first memory.
That's right.
And I was premature, and I guess I was even an incubator in the house.
You were
Mhm.
Was it in the house?
Yeah.
in the house in
And we all took turns guarding. Somebody had to be there all the time.
all the time,
Mhm.
and it was in.
And I was born on Thanksgiving. So,
Mhm.
Right.
You were our turkey.
yes.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was a great home that we lived in with a big white house with a red tile roof. But eventually somebody bought it and took 4 of the bedrooms out the top floor
Mm-hmm.
and made a mansard roof out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, but now it's completely gone. And there's another house built there. And it was right across the street from St. James Church and school. And all we had to do is roll out of bed and go to school in the morning. And
Huh?
what do you all remember about it?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I can remember that we had a parakeet, and that one day the parakeet escaped.
Ike
from
was
his
his name.
cage.
Ike.
Yes. And we had animals. I think that's where Joni and
We even had a
family-
pig.
Hmm?
I think we even had a pig for a while. Wasn't
We
it
had
an
a pig.
auction off at
We
Holy
did.
Spirit?
We never had a monkey, but I was told that our grandfather had a monkey.
Yeah.
And that he, in spite of the fact that there was some problems with alcohol in that family history, that grandfather, that's our dad's dad, his favorite thing to do was not to go to the local pub the way Grandpa Dolph would do, but instead go to Lediger's ice cream parlor and have ice cream. But anyway,
You're talking about Henry?
Yeah.
Our dad's dad.
He would go
our
to
grandfather.
Lediger's ice cream
Ice cream.
parlor.
yeah,
Oh, really?
on Philadelphia Avenue in Egg Harbor. We didn't have a presence of those grandparents because they died. But in the house at 6404 lived Aunt Betty at the time that your mother, Joe, was born. And she was a godsend. She had recently separated from her husband, whom she had married, Carole reminds me, at age 14, and moved to Philadelphia from Egg Harbor, where she was raised.
Soon after her mother died.
Soon after her mother died.
Hmm.
And when Mama and Papa Wimberg bought the house at 6404 Atlantic Avenue, it was with the intention that it would be a funeral home. And it was with great sorrow that they had to give up that idea in about 1945, at about the time that Joni
Was born.
And that really changed their lives. You know how there's seminal things that change your life. 6404 held that drama, sort of like what the Hilltop House does right now, that it could never be again what it was. But for us, it was our growing up was there. It was seated in that huge, heavy front door that invited people in so many ways, with 2 lions out front and the photos being taken and people coming over for baptismal parties or birthdays or funerals. And meanwhile, Mom and Pop had to find another place to live because they knew that eventually they had to leave 6404.
Because they couldn't get that for a funeral
They
home.
could not, they were not permitted to have it as a funeral home.
Hmm.
And that was very sad. But
So I'll pick up on the door. There's big, wonderful coffered doors that entered the main entry area,
hallway,
the foyer of 6404. There were so many times I remember Uncle Harry or Andy Diamond just opening the door and giving a whistle. The Holy Spirit whistle.
I can't whistle, but it goes do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah. And they would just walk in, and then we would hear them coming, and we would run down the steps from that lovely staircase that went to the second floor. We'd run down and greet them because we knew that they would swing us around in circles, and it was just a wonderful way to live, to have a house that was never locked.
It was never
It was open. So I'll tell you a little bit about 6404, but I'm so into the history of Egg Harbor that came before 6404. And I'll talk about social media that on Facebook, through Facebook, I happened to meet a 101-year-old lady who was a little girl in 5, 6, and 7 when she lived next door to the Wimberg family.
Wow.
So she knew all those boys. She had a crush on Uncle Chester. And I could tell you lots of things that she told me about the grandparents that we never met. But the few outstanding ones right now are that nobody during the Depression went hungry, because Grandma Wimberg, or Annie, a lot of people called her Annie, on the staircase to their house, they always had a big basket of apples or food for any of the kids in the neighborhood who went hungry. So I thought that was really good. And we did learn a lot from, her name was Selma Voss, and she lived in Oregon, and Joni went down one time with me to meet her. Lois went down one time to meet her. And it was mainly because I made a comment on Facebook, and a guy named Frank Finnerty had a friend named Bill Black, and he called me. He said, are you one of the Wimbergs from the Wimberg clan in South Jersey? And I said, yeah, I am. He said, well, my mother-in-law can't stop talking about your family. So the older she got, the more accurate her memories of her childhood were. So we have that documented. We have lots of videos of that.
We do.
So if any of you are interested, know that they're online.
But you left out how many brothers and sisters were our father
In our family. Oh, I didn't want to go into that, but there were 9 with Alvy. So there was oldest one was Carrie, then came George, then came Larry, and then
Joe,
and then
Henry
was not. What was he? He was born in the year,
I don't know.
Something. Anyway, then Henry and Chester,
and
Anime. Oh, and Alvy. Alvy was close to, maybe he was the third one down. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, maybe the 4th child.
And he died. How did he die?
And he dove into not Egg Harbor Lake, which we thought for years because it was water. We imagined it was Egg Harbor Lake, but there were ponds around Egg Harbor, and Albie dove into
A swimming pond that they used to go to frequent.
yeah. And probably he would have survived if there was an ambulance that right now, any ambulance takes care of the neck right away. Well, an old pickup truck that Selma Voss explains to me that the whole town was talking about, the old truck that was bouncing up and down trying to get him to a doctor. Well, they didn't take care of his neck then.
No.
So that was one of the, who knows, that might have been the reason, but we don't really know exactly whether it was the dive in or the,
It was the dive. It was the dive.
yeah.
But it didn't help.
Did he live long?
He
Till
did.
he was
He did.
about 20.
There's a photograph of the children, and Albie is sitting in a wheelchair.
And our dad was very, very close to him, and he would cry sometimes when we talk about Ali. You could see tears coming. Yeah.
But that home, that funeral home that Selma lived close to, was their second funeral home that the Wimbergs had in Egg Harbor. The first funeral home was in a lot that was next door, and that was an old one-story Victorian house, sort of like the one that we live in New Zealand. But it had a big open room at the front of the place. And Uncle Henry tells a wonderful story about that particular funeral. Remember, the ones that you might have gone to in Egg Harbor would be the third one that they had. The second one was a 2-story building, and it's pictured, you will find it on top of the gingerbread cookie recipe that
Oh,
we brought this time, and that we're going to share around with genealogy for everybody. So
Yeah.
we will do that. We must promise.
Yeah.
to. But Uncle Henry tells a wonderful story about the Wimbergs and their practice of generosity of spirit, and just they must have been very much a part of the community in that essential sense, its service sense, because they did drive fire engines. Our great grandfather was involved in the fire.
He was the head of the first
fire.
volunteer fire department, and it was called Lafayette, and everyone wondered, why is it Lafayette? Well, they got a secondhand fire engine. They didn't want it to go to waste. A lot of Germans don't want anything to go to waste.
Yes.
So they bought the secondhand fire engine, and it happened to be painted Lafayette. So that's why it's called Lafayette, not Egg Harbor Fire Department, because it would happen to be written on the side of the fire truck. But anyway, another quick Selma Voss story is I said, what was it like when you went into their house, Selma? We don't know very much about their life. Well, I went in many times, she said. And she would walk in and she'd look at Annie Wimberg, our grandmother, at the sink. And she looked in the sink and there were a bunch of turtles. So she would make turtle soup.
Oh, no.
With all the turtles. And that snapper soup was very popular because there were lots of turtles out at Egg Harbor Lake. And we saw those turtles, right, when we were kids, Joni, right? Yeah. And another thing she would say, she borrowed Aunt Carrie's coat. I mean, she told me tons of details that were just painting the picture of this wonderful Wimberg family. And the father, our grandfather, would go outside when he would hear the yum yum. There was a little cart that went around town. Yum yum man, yum yum man. And Mr. Wimberg would go out. She would say, she called him Pop Wimberg. Pop Wimberg would go out, and all the kids in the neighborhood knew that he would buy them a yum yum. And it was just ice with a flavor on top of it. And we heard that years later the guy couldn't make the ice anymore because they heard that he did it in his bathtub. So So they don't know how sanitary it was. So anyway, they had to stop that. But and then I'm going to forward into 6404 to answer your question about.
Can
our
I tell
house.
one more story
About Egg Harbor?
Henry?
We have so many Egg Harbor stories.
We're talking about two different funeral homes. One in Ventnor, which our father had,
No.
but the one in Egg Harbor, our grandfather
No, what
and
we were-
great grandfather had, right?
That's right. That's right. We don't know how Mama and Pop ended up in Ventnor from Egg Harbor. It would have seemed that that's where you would practice if you were a funeral director, which Dad was. And but they chose to live in Ventnor and build their own.
And his father couldn't pay him. It was during the Depression too, and soon after the Depression, and he did, according to Mom, say, "Look, I can't pay you anything because I don't have anything. You just have to work in the funeral home for nothing." So that was perhaps one of the reasons he moved to Ventnor.
Yeah.
And another reason, my mother, our mom, had a great job during the Depression. And she said, I would almost feel guilty making money, but it was her money that started the funeral home. And I have that in writing, that it was her. Dad didn't have any money. And so it was really a woman's money that started it.
And she worked in a stocking factory, right?
A nylon factory.
A nylon factory. And Aunt Betty did too.
Yeah.
Aunt Betty, I don't know where Aunt Betty
During the
Well, I know.
Depression.
supposing that she did. That's funny. I don't know where Aunt Betty
I
went.
I know that Mother went to live with Aunt Betty during the time that,
Oh,
and I do know she lived with her other grandmother for a little bit. That was the Nemeth grandmother before she died.
Yeah, those houses weren't that far away.
and
from
mother, our mother was how old when her mother died?
11.
I thought 13,
I
but
thought
11 or
11.
13.
Yeah,
Yeah.
between 11 and 13. But I have to go back to the
Wait,
generosity.
but real quick. I asked Mom so many times what it was like after her mom died. Every time I asked her, she would say, all I remember is crying. I just remember crying
Yeah.
when her mom died because she was so young.
Right.
And just at the time, she needed a mom.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So her mom herself was a midwife, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I want to go back.
Our mother
I've
was a
got to
midwife.
finish this thing about generosity because the Wimbergs in Egg Harbor were probably seen, if you saw them from afar, as a pretty well-off family and a professional family. And what happened in reality was quite a different story. And I think of ourselves being raised in that same manner, that people around us would, there's a professional, they're well-to-do, that, I never sensed that anybody treated us as if we had hardships. We were in a very privileged position from the outside, but the inside is always quite different. And in that family, the generosity prevailed. And there were people, particularly, of course, during the Depression, but long before then, during World War I, that there was no, people didn't have a lot of money. And when people died, it was going to have to be something different than money that they paid with. And I think, Jan, we get this stretch of what the economy is all about when we think about these things, because we just assume that certain people have it and that other people do not have it. And someplace in the middle comes this important thing that drives it all, and that's this generosity. So what happened in their case was that they would take on properties, and that's how they accrued the property that they had. And when they got the third funeral home and the property next door, and
As payment then in some way?
as payment, or maybe with a car. Later in a different chapter, we were given a pink Cadillac in
Yeah.
place of, that's another story.
Well, it's a good
Jodi,
one.
you remember that one.
It's a good one. Dad people couldn't pay their funeral bill. And because they couldn't pay their funeral bill, Dad said, well, I might as well take something. And the guy said, what do you want in this parking lot? And there was a big pink Cadillac with a royal blue.
It was
roof.
a convertible with a
Wow.
And that's what we drove around in. Talk about
And Jodi, you remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that? Oh my God, that was too much.
Mhm.
But this one of the things that I keep thinking about so much is two situations about babies, and this is all again in Egg Harbor. And Uncle Henry told the story of when he was a little boy in the first funeral home that they had, that somebody came to the door in the middle of winter with a child, with a very small infant, and said, "This baby has died." And Anna Beck said, come in. And Uncle Henry says that front room was very vacant, but it was meant for families, and that's where I guess they had the funerals. We never saw photos of the inside of that place, nor the second funeral, the 2-story funeral home. And Henry happened to be there, and Anna, his mom, says to him, "Henry, go get the gas heater." So they bring this gas heater. It's freezing outside, maybe snowing, I don't know. And the child's bundled up, and the child was, for all practical purposes, the child had died. And so Henry brings the heater, and they light the heater, and Anna's talking to the family, consoling them, and she says, "Here, give me the child. That's fine." So she talks, and
She held it.
she held the baby,
Oh.
and all of a sudden the baby moved.
Oh, really?
The baby had just been frostbitten,
Oh,
Oh
God.
my heavens.
and it, and Uncle Henry, when he told the story, his
I didn't hear
eyes
that.
lit up like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a lovely story.
Mhm.
And just one more that I'll tag on to that is one that your mom, told
Our mother.
when you might remember more about this than
She had to make a removal
she
from
had to make a removal.
the Hildebrandt. Yeah.
And she had
Removal
had a
of-
birthing
removal of
Of a baby.
of a baby that had died,
Okay.
and this baby did die.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for clarifying.
But the only way that Mom
She
could get there,
walked.
because Pop wasn't around, was to walk to the Hildebrandts, which was maybe 12,
Half a
15
mile.
blocks away,
Okay.
I'd say half a mile.
and walked home with baby as though.
I
the baby
remember
was-
that
Do you
story.
remember
Yeah.
that story?
Yeah.
And I just think about the human circumstances that really,
Mhm.
make a difference.
And also the human part of being funeral directors' daughters, Joni, Lois, and I, how we were able to learn about living, because at a time of death, there's a lot of living.
There's a lot.
And I think that gave us a little edge in life. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And meeting the older people, I think, was so special. And I think sometimes they would say, "Tell us little stories," or they wouldn't bother with the little stuff. They told us the important things:
Mhm.
generosity, love, how important that is. And what do you remember? And I stood at the door so many times.
We all did.
But one of my favorite people that came to almost every funeral was Mrs. Kunick. And she would do a jig every time she see me at the door.
Really?
Yeah. And it was really very, very social. I'm going to bring you up to 2025, because now John Jr., Karen's son, is now standing at the door because he heard that Chip got him one of his buddies to stand at the door. And it was very important for Daddy to have his family stand at the door. I want you at the door. Or if it was somebody that he hired, that was okay. But it was more important that family greet the people.
So now how many generations back is it? Our great grandfather was a funeral director. Our
18.
grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
our father,
Mm-hmm.
our
Brother.
Our
brother,
father's son, our
and our
father's son's
father,
son.
our father's father's son, George, our brother,
Mhm.
Yes.
and his son,
Our
Chip.
brothers.
George the
Oh, third,
third.
and then his son Chip. So
Yeah.
anyway, should we get back to 6404
Yeah,
Atlantic?
Because
should do
all
a
of
monologue.
this
She
happened
should
in
just do it.
7300. And Joni, how old were you when we moved to 7300?
I think I was 13.
Yeah.
12 or
That
13.
That sounds
Just
right.
going into high school.
So this standing at the door happened at 7300 by the time my mom and papa had to buy that house. 6404 was spread out and it was grand. It was just wonderful, especially in retrospect, as we had to move into a place where Georgie slept in the office, and we three girls slept in one bedroom. So we really downsized,
Yeah.
didn't we? Yeah.
6404 is not still there, is it?
No.
Okay.
6404 is gone.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we do have some good photos of it, which is really good. And in that house, there was a lot of life. And like Chris and Kelly, it seems like there were parties. And I think they were wrapped around childhood things, though, you know.
And baptism. Joni's baptism was one of my
That was
favorite
the big-
huge parties.
I don't
Huge.
remember.
And I was in the basement near one of those big brick pillars in the basement, and Howarth, Billy Howard's brother, Cappy Howard, he would tell stories to all the kids. There were about 5 of us or 6 of us listening to stories. And he knew each of our names. So as he told the story, he wove Carole into it. And then he would, I think Michael Singling was one of the kids next to me, and he would bring Michael's joke. But that's one of my first story sessions that I remember in life, at your baptismal party,
Really?
which was huge. There were people all over the basement. There were people all over the front floor.
Yeah, in this house where Joni was born, in Mom and Pop's bed. And where we were able to, during that party, take people's coats and put them up on Mom and Dad's bed.
Oh, yeah, we had a job.
On the bed that you were born in. And those places were...
So how old was she when she was baptized?
Oh, she was just a baby.
She was
So baby.
Yeah.
So you two were this is pre.
I was
before-
I was 5.
So you're 5 and 6, just hanging people's coats and.
Yeah.
Well, when they came in the door,
Right.
but then later we were down the basement.
Right.
All the fun people, I think, were in the basement.
But Joni was baptized at birth because they thought she would die.
Right.
Yeah, so of course.
Yeah.
So this was after the fact, in fact.
Yeah. And of course, this house was only 1 block from the beach. So in the summertime, it was beach in the morning, run home for lunch, and then back to the beach again.
Absolutely.
No.
We lived on the beach.
And we just lived on the beach. Nobody took care of it. I mean, the lifeguards, I guess, watched us.
That's true.
And let's see what else about that house. There was a beautiful sunroom, a wonderful fireplace, super duper Christmases, the biggest tree in Ventnor probably, and the happiest morning, because we never saw our tree, of course, until Christmas morning. So it was Mom all night long. Probably Dad might have been out with the boys having a drink, but Mom was decorating the tree.
And how she brought it in, maybe. I
Oh,
wonder.
I'm sure she had help.
Would they bring the tree in like the day before?
No, the night
The night before.
after we
Really?
went to sleep. Mhm.
So
So
you wouldn't be
so
up
we
for
woke
weeks.
up in the morning to this wonderland of a
Wow.
living room. It was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And there were big French doors that had little, and we'd peek in. And of course, we couldn't go to sleep. So
Right.
No,
I
it's
said,
hard.
are you sleeping yet? Are you sleeping yet, Lois? Because we shared the room together. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then lots of parties. Mom often had big parties, but you know what? They got a big can of pretzels and a big
I still remember
can.
that. I remember. And you had a lot of parties when you were at Holy Spirit High School.
And what's a party you remember, Joni?
I
Your
just
turn.
know you had lots of parties with I didn't have any parties there. That I had them at 7300.
Yeah.
But I still remember the cans of pretzels and the big
Do you?
cans of potato chips.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, so that was most of the parties. And then some parties, it was just after a prom. And as I grew up and as I went back to Vintner very often during the later years of my life, people would remember, oh my gosh, the Wimberg prom parties. Because you would go to the prom and then you would come to the Wimberg house, and all Mom did was order from these donuts. The donuts with cream
really?
and the jelly donuts. That's all she did. Put a great big box of donuts on the table on one end, another box on the other end, and that was a
I
party.
didn't remember that.
That's true.
It wasn't like 18 things on the table. There was one. But the main thing was togetherness. And then our dad, he really wanted us not to be in any cliques, not just to have a friend and not talk to the other people. He wanted us to be friends with everyone.
That's true.
And to be generous. And sometimes other people, I think he treated equally as his own kids. Did
Yeah.
you feel that? Dad
Yeah.
was kind of a universal kind of.
He was not at all judgmental.
Yeah,
He was not an ounce of
he was
a
not
judgment
Jan.
of others or even complaints.
Mhm. But he did teach me a few things, and that is never take out a loan on anything that's not going to go up in value.
Oh, right.
And he also taught me, or he suggested, remember, he was not very judgmental, but he said, I think if you live in your own country before you travel, that's a good idea.
Oh, that's
You
good.
can pay your own electric, pay your own bills. So he made the down payment for my Volkswagen Beetle, and then I made the $40 payments every month thereafter. So, yeah. And I wanted to do that with Dawn, but Dawn said, Mom, all the kids want to drive because they want to come to the beach. And he already
that's
lived
right.
at the beach. So he never drove till he had babies 40 some years later. Okay, back to
When-
6404.
Well, maybe we'll move on to 7300 because Joni's
Her
the
memories.
fullness of Joni's youth was really practiced there at
Yeah.
7300.
Yeah, tell us about your
and
memories.
we serve, and
Oh, right.
yeah, you're growing up there.
Yeah, Dad brought home this little dog, and he was a miniature Doberman Pinscher, and we named him Wee Sir, and he would pee on the casket drapes, and he would chew bobby pins all the time.
Oh, jeez.
And we end up having to give him to Uncle Charlie, and Uncle Charlie's family had Lisa for a long time. There's a few other memories. I never wanted to live in the funeral home. I never liked it. These guys liked it.
Oh.
One day they were in the morgue and they painted they put white powder all over their faces.
These two did?
Uh-huh.
Yes,
And they jumped out of the
that was
morgue
mean.
and scared me.
that was
That's what
mean
they
of us.
did.
I remember
Yeah.
that so well.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
No, it's true.
I remember that.
That must have been her idea.
It probably was. Oh my God.
And then I would go up the funeral home steps with my hand behind my back because I thought the bodies would wake up like Lazarus woke up from the dead.
That's right.
I believed all these stories would come true. So I
That
never
makes
liked
sense.
being in the funeral home with bodies.
I relate to how you felt about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of hanging out.
Yeah. No, I
How
never
old were
was.
you when they scared the living daylights out of you?
Huh?
Uh-huh.
How old were you when they scared you?
I don't even know. I probably
I
was
think that was-
13.
I would
I'm
probably
sure.
still scare
seventh
me.
grade, maybe.
Because I
Yeah.
lived there. I must have been,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
13. But I don't know what other stories that I have of that. I was going to say something else. I forget.
Mom burned her hands in the oven once.
Oh, I guess I remember that. Easy off.
Yes, She
Yeah.
was cleaning the oven.
And then we had to be really careful about the kitchen because smells would go down to the funeral home, and we couldn't cook.
We weren't able to cook the day of a viewing.
And you had to be quiet because you could hear footprints downstairs.
And we
Yeah.
would whisper, and it was the phenomenon of if you whisper to somebody on the phone,
Yeah.
on the other end, they start whispering too.
Right.
Yeah.
They say hi.
Oh, the other story that I remember the most is that we had Christmas trees down in the funeral home at 7300,
We did.
and I was sleeping down by the Christmas tree, and I woke up and there was a dead body and
Ah!
Oh, no.
next to me in the black,
Oh my gosh.
drape, whatever.
Oh wow!
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but
And family was very important. Like how you guys ended up going to
Boy.
to your grandmother and grandfather's house every
Oh,
Sunday
right.
for dinner.
Right.
Well, it was really important to travel to Egg Harbor, and we did that very, very often.
And that was what, 20, 30 minutes away, or how far was Egg Harbor?
In those days, yes.
Egg Harbor.
30
And the
It's
other
20
thing,
miles,
The
right?
other thing, we always couldn't really plan ahead, because if we planned ahead and somebody died, then everything would change. So you
Yeah.
almost lived day by day, in more than other families. And also, when there was a funeral, my dad would remind us, look, this is not your house now. This is like their house.
Mm.
And we got to think of other people more than some kids.
Yeah,
Right,
definitely.
right.
And
That makes
as
sense.
kids, you feel that there's a difference
Mhm.
between you and everybody else. I know everybody feels that way when
Mm-hmm.
they're growing up, but
Mhm.
it was a different kind of thing. And it's
Mhm.
lovely to have lived long enough, and this might be enough for us to talk about,
Mhm.
but we have lived long enough to appreciate and understand those feelings of our youth that separated us from other people.
yeah.
Mhm.
That it was in our
Mhm.
sort of collective
Mhm.
love for and compassion for other people that
Mhm.
there was never anything that had to be that serious,
Mhm.
and yet there were big things going on in our family,
Mhm.
and it's you got to juggle with those things all the time. We all do with the particular struggles that we have, but there's something about having been raised in an arena that your body doesn't mean
Mhm.
Right.
what you
And-
might think it means.
And the other thing I think we learned was the joy of giving.
Yeah.
And after a funeral, there were lots of beautiful flowers that were still in good shape. So we would take them to the children's
Yeah,
home
That's
and
right. That's
take
a
Betty
good-
back
I
at
forgot
home.
about that.
And
so
the
our life was really in a funeral home. But after the funeral home, if there was something beautiful, we had to share it with a hospital, kids that were less fortunate.
That's really
And
good.
then let's see, what else did we do?
That's a really good.
Which is almost that recycling mindset
Yes,
too, right?
yes.
To not let things go to waste.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Of course, the families got the best ones.
Sure.
The family,
And
but
first pick, yeah.
but
that
some of
makes
them- But there were big funerals, and like the state trooper died, and the whole town
Oh,
was
wow.
there, and Mom and Dad's funeral was very big, and we all slept downstairs with my mom. She was in the casket, and we made a big long bed out of the funeral home floor. And
Wow.
too, Moana was there, and Dawn and Marion. So we have great pictures, and I'm sure that all of you have seen some of them. If you haven't, have a look.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to put some in here. One thing I want to make sure, what are some of the fondest memories you have of your mom and dad?
Me?
Yeah. Or
Well,
whoever wants to jump in.
Okay, you go. You go for. Oh, I love Mom's warmth. Her, yeah, she was so warm to all people.
And so was Daddy.
Yeah.
They shared something that I don't think you find in many couples, and their faith to each other was pretty indelible, and it was passed on to us.
And total joy it was for me to take care of Mom. She was so gracious, right? So gracious.
Very, very much so. Dad was this fluid. He still dances in my life because there was something about what he did and the way he lived that was extremely graceful, and it was a pity that his talents and what he had to give couldn't be expressed more fully.
And he was a smooth dancer. And during the father and daughter dance at St. James, oh my gosh, he was so smooth. I was so used to dancing with guys that would go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And my dad just made me float around that floor. I felt like a ballerina.
Oh, I remember one time I bleached my hair and it turned out orange. And it was just so ugly. I couldn't believe it. I looked in the mirror and I started to cry, and Dad came in and he said, "It's okay, honey. It's gonna grow out. It'll grow out." Is that what he said?
Yeah, wait for 5 months, or no, wait for 5 years.
I was trying to think of the earliest memory I had of my family, and I think I got it. And it was being lifted out of the car as I was sleeping and half awake, and being taken into 6404 to bring things back to the beginning.
Yeah. I remember
in my dad's arms.
Yeah.
It's the only time I can think of, besides dancing with Dad, that it was appropriate for Dad. But this memory is as it. I didn't remember it until a couple of years ago. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys come up with in the years to come in terms of your memory. And Joe, I should tell you that thank you for doing this. And what I remember is the letter that you wrote to your dad. And he pulled it out. It was the last time I was with my mom. And he pulled it out. He said, "I keep this letter."
Do you remember that letter?
By my bed. And he brought it out. And he read it to us. And it was a letter of you trying to express who you are and what everyone meant to you. And even though it was hard to express it.
It'll make us all cry.
Yeah.
We also remember laughter, and my dad would squeal with laughter.
Okay, what were some of the things? Yo, you're just dying to get in here, aren't you? Or, "You're looking well." Damn it.
No, and on the phone, he'd always say, "Oh, you're looking swell."
Swell, yeah.
And he
use
would
that
always
word
say,
swell.
"You're the greatest. You are the greatest." And he whistled. There's a long history of whistling in that family.
I can't.
And they used to have whistling contests. That was a big thing. And my favorite memory with Mom is we would drive together a lot. And she'd say, "Oh, go do your opera stuff." And I would sing opera. Terrible. I learned it from your grandpa, Papa Rosati. But I would sing, "Oh," like that. And she would burst out laughing and tears would come down to her eyes. And then when she laughed, sometimes she couldn't stop. She couldn't stop laughing. And the more she laughed, then she would laugh at her laughter. Did you ever laugh at your laughter?
Did you ever wet your pants laughing? We have. Mom did.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
And even when Mom was older and close to death, we'd say, "Mom, I lived in a one long block away from the Ritz-Carlton. So she loved going there for tea. When Marion was little, I dropped Marion and Mom off in the morning, and I picked them up at noon. But anyway, even close to her death, we'd say, Mom, do you want to go have tea at the Ritz? And she said, oh, that would be very nice. She could hardly walk. She could hardly talk, but she wanted to have tea at the Ritz. She was so much fun to take care of. Right?
And the letter that we found that she had written on her last Christmas, and we read the other night at the house. It was a lovely encapsulation.
I didn't hear that letter.
Well, it was written on her birthday, January 30th. And she said, I'm writing this now because I want you to have this because all the people that know these stories are all gone now.
That's right. I'm the only one left. And it was not that she was lonely. It was that she didn't want these stories that we're all telling to escape.
Right.
And she loved the beach and the boardwalk and breathing. And she would say to us when we would go on the beach, just
Take a deep breath.
Eat the air. Yeah. Just, in other words, that saltwater air, was just heaven.
And she wanted us to have everything that she didn't, and particularly education. And
She would study.
so what did we danced. We had a tap board in the dining room at 6404. We had animals so that we learned how to take care of animals. We cooked with Aunt Betty there, and we really got introduced to cooking. We did ice skating.
We had lots of music.
We had our hair done every month.
Oh,
I
really?
couldn't stand every time. I think you did too. I don't know how you felt about it, Joni. But every time I came home from, what's his name?
Julian
At the Claridge Hotel. Dad, what? Take this out. I didn't like
he was a one-man show, and he had like 5 areas that he was taking care of, and we were only kids. So I think he forgot we were under the dryer, and we'd be under the dryer.
Oh, is that what happened to our hair? It made it all frizzy.
And it was one of these great big dryers.
Yeah. Looks like a helmet almost.
Yeah, thank you.
I was telling Clara last night that my mom took us around to colleges. She hadn't even gone to high school. And here we were being taken around to schools to go to school to get moving. I was a terrible student. I'm sure that Carole and George and Joni were better students. It was hard going. Poor mom, and she had to deal with Miss Ventnor.
Oh yeah,
Miss Runner up to Atlantic City, Miss Nothing. I love it.
It was good scholarship.
Wow. Anyway, all good.
but you never said how Dad and Mom met. They met at a funeral, right?
Right.
Oh,
Uncle
they
Joe.
did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uncle Joe had a 4-year-old baby girl that died. And the funeral was, of course, at our grandfather's funeral home, but our father was working the funerals. And they didn't have enough room in the family car for Mom. So she went in the flower car. And my father was driving the flower car. And they were both sitting in the front seat. And that was the first time, the first time you're really near somebody that you get, if you're close enough, you kind of
Feel the energy.
Yeah, you have to be in close proximity to feel that infatuation.
Yeah.
And that's when they both told me that they fell in love. That
really?
that story too. Yeah. That was in sync. So then they dated for a long time. They did go out for a long time, but he had other girlfriends.
Yeah.
And she had other boyfriends. And there's one picture that we love that she cut him out. Anytime there was a photograph with another guy in it, you could see that she would cut the other guy out, right?
Yep. And I believe I was named after one of his old girlfriends.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mom,
You were named
Very
after
mom-
one of his girlfriends?
that's what I was told.
I don't know why I was named Joan. Joan of Arc, I guess because I survived being premature. I think
That
I
might-
was
That's a
makes
good
sense.
question.
I think I was about 4 pounds. I don't even know.
Not even.
You don't
I
think?
thought it was like 2.5, but
Oh, wow.
She was the cutest little baby, and she had little round curly hair like Marion, had real little curls. And I think the Sweeney boys were all in love. People, a lot of guys in town had a crush on her.
Yeah, the
Oh.
Sweeney boy. He chased me and I fell
Oh.
and I cracked my front tooth.
Oh,
And it
That's
was
how you-
There
for
you
a
go.
long time it had like a
an angle.
angle to it. Yeah. And then I have a crown on it from a Sweeney
Is that
boy
from-
chasing me.
from Dickie,
Oof, that
No,
hurts.
Paul Sweeney.
Paul.
Paul. Oh my
Paul.
God.
But I guess Dick was
He was in a car. No, he was walking on the street and a car hit him. He died.
yeah.
But
He died.
Paul, yeah, we're all going there to the other side, as the Hawaiians say. But no, Paul Sweeney is still alive, very alive on social media.
Yeah,
I'll give you his.
I think I've seen it. I didn't.
And you know, I'm
Get in touch
saying
with
very alive because of social media. That's the first time I ever said that.
Ah.
But I have to say that there's so many people that are against social media, but it sure does bring together. I
Yeah.
mean, I love the life of Paul Sweeney, and he shares everything online.
But he's very active on his social media.
He's very active, and he'll send a funny joke, something
Right.
like that he thinks. Some of them aren't so funny, but I didn't care. I like him anyway because he just likes to. He likes to. Same thing with Mark and Mary. We had a cousin that had that thing, that Wimberg kind of thing that you have to. It's the connection. It's not having a friend. It's the connection.
Right.
And if cyberspace is the way we have to connect for some people, but that I think that should not mean that being together and having your wonderful family gatherings, the Rosati.
Yeah, it's
On her
great if that's all
birthday.
you got to
Yeah.
be online. But I'd much rather, like the last 2 weeks have been amazing.
Haven't they? Haven't they
Yeah.
been amazing?
I mean,
Yeah,
to have
we
Tim and
went
Steve
to-
in the house, like when we were kids, I mean, to watch my cousins get a little older but still seem like my cousins. Aging isn't at all what you think it is when you're a kid,
That's right.
because they still have the same essence of Stan and Tim as little teenagers skateboarding that they've had their entire lives.
Exactly.
Like even Stan said, when he pictures us kind of all in our 20s and 30s, because that's kind of how he remembers a lot of. I'm surprised it's not even younger than that, but
Yeah,
yeah, he just mentioned that.
isn't it?
I am going to say one little. Doesn't relate to everything we're talking about, but
Sure.
it does relate in one way because a lot of people in the future have seen and maybe have in the past have seen Boardwalk Empire. Well, that's all about a guy named Nookie Johnson, and we heard that name a lot when we were young.
We did.
We heard it a lot. And in fact, there was sometimes funerals and they'd have 3 flower cars or they'd have family cars. And Dad, they must be rich. They have all those cars. How do they have so many? Oh, that's Nookie. Nookie took care of it. And he was a gangster, yet he's the one that in Atlantic City in the wintertime, people went hungry because Atlantic City only made money in the summertime.
Oh,
So he
right.
would say in the wintertime to all the people that were really, really, really cold, he would say to 4 trucks, I want all that coal dumped on that corner lot up at Mediterranean and Avenue. And the next morning it was all gone. They said, what do you mean we're going to dump all that coal on that lot? What do you mean? Don't worry, it'll be gone. And that's how he took care of the poor people.
Because they would come out and get it and they could heat their houses.
But they kind of knew maybe he would get the word out. It's going to come on Thursday night or something
You
like
didn't need
that.
social media for that. Everybody
That's
just knew.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Wow.
That's right.
One question I had, this whole Ken and Vince and Liberace, what can you share about that story?
They live
That's
next door to him.
Wonderful story. I'd like to just say that long before we had transgender issues and talking about these things, of course, they were there always.
Sure.
But the idea of being part of our family, they were really important for us to have those as role models, because there wasn't an ounce of prejudice in any of. Did you ever sense that at all?
No.
You know, it's so amazing to me
that our
we
parents
did not grow up with prejudices.
Yeah, we didn't grow up with prejudice. Our dad was a humanitarian, and that meant todos,
Yeah.
todos,
So
everyone,
Yeah.
everyone. Mhm.
So Ken and Vince, yeah,
But that was on our mother's side.
that was on our mother's side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So say, how were they related?
Liberace was a next door neighbor.
Yeah.
They were Ken and Vince were partners, and they lived next door to Liberace.
But Ken was our
Ken was our
relative.
Was our mother's cousin, first cousin.
Okay.
And they got together because their last name were Fossler and Vince's last name, and they were in the service together. So they were all lined up alphabetically, and that's how they got.
Well,
I mean, talk about close proximity, you know.
what was
Falling
Vince's
in.
last name?
Franza.
Oh.
So they met literally because their
I
last
can't-
names both
I
started
can't
with
remember.
F.
He told me that.
Oh, that's cool.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
So their last name started with F, so
Foster,
they got
yeah.
to know each other.
that's
When they lined up, they were.
Wow.
I mean, really, they had to line up almost every day.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Where were they in the military?
well, of course they wouldn't have been
I don't
seen.
know.
Right.
What?
That was back then. It was a little.
Right,
You couldn't just
they had
necessarily.
to definitely be.
They
girls.
they probably hid it.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
But
lived.
they didn't hide it from my father, and my father again was totally open to all
yeah.
people.
Right.
And our mother. Right, I mean,
And
particularly, I
Mom.
mean that because it's that side of the family.
Oh, that's right.
And they had a tunnel from their house to Liberace's house, right?
No,
I
that's
don't
what
know
I
anything
heard
about
that.
I don't know
No?
anything about.
no, the back door. It was
Or it was
was a-
next door neighbor.
it was a passageway. You could
Oh.
say that, and the gate was always open.
and
they
this
would go
was
back
in
and
Palm
forth.
Springs.
Hmm.
Palm
Yeah.
Springs. That's right. So Ken and no, they've both passed on, have they not?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Because
Mm.
Ken was probably.
He had lung cancer,
Oh, okay.
hmm
Wasn't he
and he smoked.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Mhm.
and wasn't he a priest at one time?
I think he was in the seminary.
In a seminary, yeah.
I think so.
Okay, what else, Joe?
I don't know. Did Marion or Gian have any questions at all that would be good?
I'm looking at my
Yeah,
lovely
yeah.
Marion over there.
What is your favorite memory of each other?
Oh, good question.
Ooh,
Growing
my
up.
favorite memory of Jodi is her giggle.
Oh,
I love her giggle. And that one time, a couple times when she would have hard times, she would call me and would cry on the phone. And one time Joe said, "Why are you making my mother cry?"
Probably aside from the time that the pie was in her face.
But I loved her giggle. And I always admired how she would dress. She's the best shopper in
I
our
was,
family.
but
She
I
is
don't
the,
know anymore.
and Lois and I always come here and we get ideas of clothes and things like that. We always get her leftover bathing suits.
Yeah.
And what else do we love about Jodi? She loves everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
you're pretty.
But your question was, what's your memory?
Yeah,
My-
favorite memory growing up, childhood memory.
Oh, growing
I-
up.
each other.
I
Child.
remember the thrill of being able to take care of a little sister.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we were in charge.
And for Carole and me, there's a whole lot of similarities. There are a whole lot of differences too, but the kind of things that happen throughout school, we have been able to share those memories. And for Johnny being 6 years younger than me, it's
Yeah,
a little harder to do that, and I miss that, and I'm sure Joni misses it as a little sister. So it's good that there is this continuity and this contiguous
But there's-
between you siblings. you
There's
know,
also
there's-
a very interesting thing that happened to us when we were younger, and that is we really didn't grow up with television,
Right.
but TV came,
Yeah.
and
That's
she
true.
was really, and
Yeah.
I remember her watching the television so much. You know, you were like, and we did too. Frontier Playhouse, Howdy Doody. I mean, all those very
Mickey
beginning
Mouse
shows.
Club.
Yeah, and but our lives as kids weren't as affected by TV.
That's
Radio, we listened to radio, the
Yeah.
president's speech on the radio. Everyone would gather around this big old radio,
Right.
you know, and so there was one big change. Is maybe even those commercials, maybe that got her to be shopping more than us.
Sure.
I mean, I don't like shopping.
We don't know the true impact that some of the
Yeah.
messages might
I
have.
don't
But
like
you never
shopping
know.
anymore,
Yeah.
but
All right, yeah.
So would you and Lois, was it more, because it's been great to watch you and Lois do a little bit more singing, etc. So did you find yourself more in plays and entertaining yourself around the house before the TV? came
Making
into play?
skits, we were all making
Oh,
skits, and if we had company
them up.
come over, we had to entertain them. But you were in Mrs. Metzger too. You
Yeah,
were in those
yeah.
plays, so she
we
was.
were all blackbirds in the pie.
That's right.
That's right. That's
I don't know how the pie was, but we were at Mrs. Metzger's
Yeah.
school
Yeah.
elocution, and Chris ended up coming to Mrs. Metzger's when
And
he
went to
was
school
5 years
for
old.
A year? Or,
Oh,
he might have been four.
He might have been 4. He,
Yeah,
He went to school for a little while.
and he
I
learned
think
to
they-
read. ITA. He learned initial teaching alphabet.
Wow.
I think I think Mama wanted to get him away from you guys. Give her a break.
She-
I don't know.
She was afraid you would beat him up.
Well, Mike and Chris really, they had some serious, like, clawing in the face, scratching, go, oh my, yeah, they were.
I still have the little cable cars in that room from them fighting, and their hands were bleeding. One, I don't know whose hands, but
Aww.
Yeah, I mean,
That's my godson.
yeah.
they got into it more, like, sometimes I think I was just taken aback how into the fighting that they were. Wow. They went at it.
But those two went to Chestnut Hill, and I went to Nazareth
we
College.
we did a lot. I mean,
So they
because
were more together.
We were
And
2 years
Yeah.
apart in school. So I was a cheerleader at Holy Spirit. You were a cheerleader at Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
I was a
went to
cheerleader at
Chestnut
Holy
Hill,
Spirit.
Oh, that's
And
right.
you were a
Yeah, but they
cheerleader.
said you're just trying to be like your sisters.
Well,
Oh,
that's what they
really?
said to me too.
I went to teach in California. Carole came to teach in California. And so we knew the same network of people, even in California. It's the same families, the Quams, that sort, and Joni didn't have that experience. She didn't share that
Right.
background, and you don't know how these things flip as you grow older, and how some people come back into your lives. We went to Eleanor Weems together for Long Beach State.
Yes,
to go
uh-huh.
to summer school.
And the other night there was a girl that was 90 years old. She went to school with Uncle George, and she was.
Oh yeah, this is
Her name
good.
is Jeannie Dollard, and we were singing Buzone Carlet on the phone, and she's in Florida. She had a ball, didn't she?
She had a crush on George,
Oh,
and Carole got her
I
to
got them
call
to-
him.
I got her to call
you
him.
mean just this week, last week?
Yeah, just for company. I just want him to have more fun, you know.
Yeah.
And she did. She called him a couple times.
Good.
Mhm.
Well, I know we need to wrap this up because there's flights to get and all that, but if as kids and even the rest of us watch this later on, what do you want to close with as far as maybe advice if someone's growing up, maybe some valuable piece that each one of you would want to share for future generations or grandkids or what have you? Is there a piece of some kind of advice you'd say?
I'll do a real quick
Okay,
one.
perfect.
I probably had the hardest life of the three of us. Oops.
My mind is prepared for the unpredictable.
But anyway, whenever you're down and out, the only way is up. That's all I can say. Okay.
Just get ready for the unpredictable, girls and boys.
I just spilled coffee on her
Oh, that's okay. It's good. It was good.
Sister, sister. Now you gotta sing that song.
Oh,
Sisters, sisters, there were never such devoted sisters. Many men have tried to break us up, but no one can. Lord, help
The
sisters. No,
Come
Lord, help
between me and my sisters,
but Lord, help the
the
mister
mister
who comes between me and my man.
All
Okay,
right,
one,
then.
one more little song. Oh, yeah, you want to get her a towel?
a napkin?
Yeah.
The spill.
No, no, it's called.
Okay,
I'm not worried about
Okay, let's.
I'm worried about
What are you gonna wind up with?
What are we
Answer.
gonna wind up? With?
Yeah,
She just spilled.
We need a napkin.
Are we?
Yeah. Well, again, I was going to go that way, but
Are we
I
still
spilled my
on?
coffee.
Oh.
Are we still on?
Here, you want me to take it?
Yeah, I think you're still on.
So Jodi,
you're on the
what-
camera,
answer
too. I
his
didn't
last
know that.
question. What do you want to wind up advising your children?
Try to look at the positive in life,
Oh, that's good.
and
For her.
oh, here's this has a little bit of
Oh,
dry and wet.
oh, I'm not worried. I'm worried about that.
Oh,
Thank
oh, here.
you. Thank you.
Oh, it's
It
a
made
little.
its
and
way
don't
down.
spill coffee on your sister.
Yeah, that's my advice.
Right.
Never be interviewed with a cup of coffee in your hand.
Ah, right. Woo. Well done, everybody.
Okay.
All right.
Hey,
Well, thank you.
Lois didn't say her thing.
You have to wind it up.
Here, come.
Oh, be prepared for the unpredictable.
Unpredictable.
All right.
Yeah, right. And Mom,
And also, you got to be flexible in life.
yes.
If you're not flexible, And if you have to plan something to the T and do it to the T, it never turns out.
Yeah. Well, sometimes a lot of the plans we make, there's detours to make
That's
us
right.
get stronger skills so that later we
Uh-huh.
can learn something else that we might have needed.
Yeah.
I've definitely learned that.
Yeah.
Mom, how about you and Gigi? Anything you want to say in closing?
Oh, you get a little pet and like Gigi, and she makes you calm. She brings your blood pressure down.
That's right.
Right,
Oh.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
that's helping
you.
bring 2026, 2025 to a
Yeah.
close.
And we love all our grandkids and
All right. Bye, everyone.
fun having
Peace
Lois
to the
and
world.
Carole
We hope
and
it
Marion
comes
here.
when you guys are around. Peace to the world.
Okay.
Okay, that's water.
Oh, that's
Oh,
That's
so
water.
let's put some water.